What is going on, y'all? Narang here from LocksDFS.com, and I'm going to be bringing you the Locks DFS MLB breakdown, where I talk about a few of my favorite pitching options and spots to target for bats on this 8-game MLB slate for Friday, April 5th. Going to talk about both DraftKings and FanDuel. More DraftKings, a little bit about FanDuel, like we usually do. A few things before I get into that, though. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at ReallyAddy on Twitter. That's where you can tweet at me any questions you may have or just keep up to date with my tweets. But more importantly, if you do want to get yourself a pass and join the team, you can do so right here, locksdfs.com/shop. We're launching a new website here probably in the next couple of days, hopefully up by Monday. So I just say that to say anyone who buys a pass on this site, you will be seamlessly transferred over onto the other site. I think my picture's frozen, but I'm just going to keep talking. MLB 2019 season pass is $200. 1 month pass, $40. All access month pass is $75. Pretty good value, and with this comes access to all our content, obviously, as well as an invite to our private members-only Slack chat. We've been having a ton of success just talking in there. I know members have been going like 6-1 over the first week of baseball, 7-0. Some really, really cool win rates, and we're really proud of that. So if you guys do get a pass, would love to have you on the team. And so go ahead and do so right here. But with that being said, let's just get into baseball because this is a fun slate. So it's kind of similar to a slate like 3 days ago we had with David Price was the biggest name pitcher on the mound. After that we had like Scherzer, Sale, all those guys. So this is more of the former than the latter. Not a lot of big name pitching, not a lot of big name pitching options on this slate, but still a bunch of serviceable guys that we can go after. Let's just start off with pitching. Starting at the top price range, Collin McHugh, 9,500. He's going to be my favorite high price option for pitching. This is a guy who coming into the season, he's kind of like a wild card. We don't really know what too much to expect about him. All we know is that he added a slider last year, and that slider has helped him tremendously versus righties. This is his 2018 numbers: 2.64 xFIP versus righties, 4.13 xFIP versus lefties. And then in his 2019 start versus the Tampa Bay Rays, he struck out 9 guys over 5 innings, just dominant rates. Obviously, this is too small of a sample size to actually get to take weight from, but when you factor it in with some of his 2018 numbers, primarily of which came out of the bullpen, it's still quite impressive. Tough matchup versus a pretty talented Oakland team, but one thing they do is they do lean pretty heavily right-handed. Without Matt Olson in this lineup, they only really have switch hitters that hit lefties like Robbie Grossman, Morales, and Profar. But aside from that, all their best hitters like Chapman, Piscotty, Chris Davis, all these guys, Collin McHugh's going to have the platoon advantage on them. He's going to be able to throw that slider to him effectively. So love this spot for him, 9,500. I think it's a tremendous spot to go to because there's not a lot of high price pitching to pay for. So he definitely makes sense as one of the guys to pay for. Coming down a little bit farther though, I really wanted to talk about Nick Pivetta a bit. But I'm not going to because the weather in that game looks awful. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets called. He's a great option if the weather somehow fully clears up. I don't anticipate that happening, but that kind of gave me a reason to look deeper into some of these other guys. And Joe Musgrove was a guy that I am pretty intrigued by. He was a guy who last year did fairly well. He had pretty good numbers: 3.73 xFIP to righties, 4.18 xFIP to lefties. He's the kind of guy that's he's got dominant stuff. He's got a really, really good fastball, and he's got a really, really good slider. The problem with him is he just doesn't throw that slider enough. So he's really a guy that would just benefit from just a better pitch mix, which is something that you would assume that a team like Pittsburgh would look into in the offseason and sort of get him to throw that slider instead of 20% of the time, maybe bump it up to 30% of the time. It's really one of the most elite sliders in the MLB. It's a wipeout pitch. So he's got a great matchup as well versus a Reds team that, while they do have some big names in here, they mostly are right-handed as well. Yasiel Puig, Eugenio Suarez, Matt Kemp. The real only lefty you have to worry about is Joey Votto up here, but he is pitching at PNC Park, which is one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in all of baseball, especially versus left-handed bats, so that kind of neutralizes those that have the platoon advantage against him. Both these pitches that I talked about are in great team total spots. The Athletics have a 3.8 team total, no discernible line movement in their favor. And then we have the Reds, who opened at a 3.9 team total and have since dropped to 3.6. The total in this game has dropped, but that's obviously great for Joe Musgrove. So definitely like him here. And then on FanDuel, another guy I like just in general is Kevin Gausman, but he's $9K on DraftKings, whereas on FanDuel he's only $7,200. Like him a lot more here. He's going up against one of our favorite matchups versus the Marlins. He's not going to be the high strikeout guy that he was a couple years ago when he was more of a prospect. He sort of settled into this ideally like a mid-3 ERA, 8 Ks per 9 kind of guy, which is more than serviceable when you have a matchup versus the Marlins and you're this cheap on FanDuel. So definitely look to him over there. Not so much on DraftKings, but you could probably still play him. And as far as bats go, just one real spot I'm going to talk about. I'm going to leave a lot of it for our members, but y'all saw an explosion in this Texas-LA game last night, and I think we could see more of the same tonight. First off, we have the over in this game, which has jumped up half a run since opening. 83% of bets on the over, so it's kind of natural that it would jump up half a run, but it's still good to see if you want to look towards bats for this game. The two pitchers in this game, Felix Pena and Lance Lynn, they're in a similar mold. These are Felix Pena's 2018 numbers: 4.59 xFIP to lefties, 3.42 xFIP to righties, home run per rate over 1 to each handedness. But the thing with guys like Felix Pena and guys like Lance Lynn, I'll show you Lance Lynn's numbers in 2018: 5.10 xFIP to lefties, 3.24 xFIP to righties, and as you can see, this is where guys like Lance Lynn and Felix Pena tend to struggle when they do, is in their walks per 9 rate. And that's kind of what you're looking for when you're looking for stacking. You're not looking for guys that walk a bunch of people, but you're looking for guys who have problems with walks and home runs, which these guys do. They do give up a fair amount of hard contact, 35% roughly for Lance Lynn. And in 2018, about 40% for Felix Pena, decent fly ball rate as well. And a lot of these lefties are quite cheap. So I am looking towards a lot of these Angels lefties, a lot of these Rangers lefties, which they're loaded with top to bottom. I think Calhoun at 3.9 is still a great play. Justin Bour at 4.1, equally as much. Shin-Soo Choo, sub 4K. Rougned Odor, 4.3. Joey Gallo, Mazzara, all these guys fairly cheap. Almost had to sneeze there. All these guys fairly cheap for the upside that they do provide. So I will be looking to quite a few bats in this game to kind of fill out my roster. And I think you'll have more than enough salary to get bats from other spots as well. Obviously, there's a bunch of good spots on this slate to go after. I like Milwaukee versus Jose Quintana. I think you can find a lot of value in the Braves again versus Pablo Lopez. But and what I was saying is I think since the pitching options aren't too price heavy, that I think you will be able to afford guys like Mike Trout and get some of these high price bats into your lineup to round out your team effectively. So that's going to be where I'm looking for a lot of my bats. And then let's do these home run calls. So I'm going to go back to this game for both of them. The high price one, I'm going to go to Mike Trout. Just seems like a safe way. I haven't gotten a high price dong right this year. I think I gotten a couple low price dongs right, sub 4K, but not a high price one right. So I'm going to go with the guy that gives me the best chance of getting this right, and I'm going to go with Mike Trout. And then on the other side of this game, I'm going to come back with Shin-Soo Choo at 3.9K. Like I said, love the spot for him versus Felix Pena. Increased home runs per 9 rate to lefties, almost a 42% hard hit rate to lefties last year to go along with a plus 35% fly ball rate. Just a really, really good spot for a lot of these lefties. I love Choo. I love Odor. I love Gallo. All three of them have a shot at going yard, especially Gallo. But for the sake of this video and because I need someone sub 4K, I'm going to go ahead with Shin-Soo Choo. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, though. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. As always, you will be entered into our weekly giveaway that we run every single week, where we just like to give back to our most active likers, most active viewers. Those that are leaving likes and positive comments, we have our notifications on, so we always see it. We take note of the people that are constantly leaving positive feedback that we can all benefit from. So we like to hook y'all back up with the free season pass of your choice. Everyone's chosen baseball so far, so I'm assuming y'all will as well, but totally up to you. So with that being said, thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope you win a ton of money tonight. I hope you guys have a real nice weekend ahead, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.